You've seen him for years as Hollywood's bad guy on TV and in movies. Now, listen to him right here. Here's your host, the multi-talented Jasper Cole.
All right. Howdy. Is this on? Howdy, howdy, howdy. And welcome to On the Set with Jasper Cole. I would be your hostess, Miss Jasper Cole, coming to you live from Sunset Gower Studios
summer.
Right here in Hollywood.
Out and about.
You haven't been introduced. In Hollywood, California. Please, I work alone for the first few minutes. Thank you. Anyway, welcome back, because it's been a coon's age since we have been here, hasn't it?
At this rate, you're going to be working
It's
alone
been about
all the
7
goddamn
weeks
time.
because we've been busy. I've been out representing y'all, out trying to get us some listeners and some viewers. Mama is tired.
You went on that tour with Wendy Williams.
Hold on, let me get
promoting your shows and shit.
Rest in peace, Betty.
Oh,
We have to start off by saying that we want to give a big shout out to Betty Huff, who dropped dead last. I can't believe Dara is laughing. That is.
that is
I need to
just
take her off camera.
Well,
Because you're
you guys.
because you're so awful.
my
That's
God.
why I'm laughing. Don't blame me. I met her once. Shit.
He says drop dead.
well, if you
my
knew
God.
Betty, she would appreciate that because
Oh, look, there's my car. It's a Huff. I think I'll leave in it.
Oh my God.
my mascara's running.
Oh, my goodness.
Is there makeup, hair and makeup? Anyway,
Jasper, there's just no,
Betty.
there's just no timing
Reference
with
with
you.
No,
I know.
in all seriousness, my dad's a longtime family friend and my dad's current girlfriend
Stop
of a year.
crying, 'cause
I know
you're
it's so
pretending.
upsetting. Passed away a week ago. So Betty, we love you and God rest your soul. And say hi to Martha when you get there, my mom, because they were really good friends. I just wanted to get that out of the way right off the top,
Yes.
because otherwise I didn't want to bring the show down later. I'd
Right.
rather just slam it in the beginning, right?
Jesus Christ.
And those voices you've been hearing and hopefully
In
seeing
your head.
is our.
That ass.
First of all, Ralph is. I don't know what he's wearing.
I asked him to get something for you.
Ralph is just
just a
a
moment.
stunner.
He is in leggings. I don't know.
Ralph
Thank
is
you.
just stunning.
That's for
Oh,
Jasper.
Ralph, thank you.
That's for Jasper.
All
Thank
he
you,
needs
Ralph.
is like a long wig,
No, I
and
need
it's
you to-
like, watch out.
Oh, no.
Watch out, Diana Ross.
I'm a little sweaty. Let me
This is
just-
the afternoon zoo
Oh,
on
you're
the set.
schwitzing.
Yeah, I'm gonna need powder.
Right.
Yeah.
I have some.
I don't wear it.
Okay.
But anyway, that lovely face you're looking at and
Oh,
seeing is
it's
Entertainment
Ralph.
Dish with Dara. Welcome.
Hey,
Hey,
Dara.
everybody. Happy July.
Happy July 20th.
July.
We're in the middle of summer.
We are in the middle of summer.
Okay, and
Yes.
and somebody's pulling focus already.
That's okay.
So
I
wel-
like when other people pull focus.
So welcome back. It's been so long. I
It's
feel like
been long.
I didn't see you this time in between.
No, you didn't.
No.
That's better for our friendship.
You think so?
Probably.
Wow. All right. Interesting. But the one bitch I did see since
oh,
then
ouch. See?
is my way too gay sidekick,
Hello.
Ralph Cole Jr.
All right, Ralph.
Hello, Planet Earth.
How are you, Ralph?
Welcome back. Hello, Jasper.
Well, you know, I saw you at Dixie's Tupperware party.
Dixie's Tupperware party, which was absolutely excellent. Planet Earther, she has gotten nothing but rave reviews. The LA Times were there. Jasper
Oh,
treated
wow.
me.
The LA Times.
Yeah,
Yes,
he
they
got
were
a great
very
review.
impressive.
They were there the night after opening night, and Jasper took me to the official opening night, and I got to meet Chris, and it was just a lollapalooza of fun. He is super talented, and hopefully he'll be on our show again. You guys might remember a couple of years ago, Dixie was on our show.
He was
Was
at
he
our
in
show at
studio?
he was a
At
call-in. Was it pre? It was a
Who
pre-tape.
took my ticket?
Was it-
a friend,
your
Bob
friend Bob.
Gustafson, who actually knew
good.
Chris back
Good.
when I first knew
Good.
Chris. I knew
because
Chris
the
when
Duchess
he was.
only drives up for Lisa Vanderpump.
Well, the Duchess knew Chris. You knew Chris when I met Chris back
Well-
in
And Chris is
in '90.
out of drag
That
name,
was
right?
a coon's age.
Chris Anderson,
Yeah.
yeah. And of
Coon's
course, we
age.
mean raccoons
Yeah.
when we're saying
Yes.
coons because
Yes.
there's so many raccoons. In fact, in Silver Lake, there's possums and there's raccoons and everything. And
They're not nice, so stay away from them.
right. And those are just my neighbors.
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
Ba-dum-bum.
cha-ching.
James Franco lives near us. Okay,
Oh,
but
really?
anyway, we're
Okay.
Wow.
we're all over the place. But no,
Yes.
so anyway, go to geffenplayhouse.com or dixielongate.com to get tickets because she's been extended.
Oh,
Oh,
past
very
August
cool.
3rd.
Yeah,
okay.
and I promised her I would
Promote.
She's
her
just
show.
a drunk old white trash trailer
She
park.
was on
Well,
the Del
you know.
Shores and Emerson show.
I know.
okay. Yeah,
She-
just recently.
She was on a whirlwind that day.
Yeah.
Yes.
We like drunk white trash.
Oh, Dixie's trailer trash.
Yeah.
But very successful trailer trash.
Right.
Very successful. I saw Chris actually perform on YouTube doing a Tupperware sale on YouTube, a presentation. So
Yes.
it's the first
As
time I actually
Dixie.
saw him. No, saw
As
him out
Chris.
as
Chris.
Chris.
Oh, okay.
Because
So I was
Chris-
really surprised.
Well, and that other voice you're hearing and
Oh,
you're
yeah,
not
sorry.
seeing
JW.
is our producer, John Williams. Give yourself some
Yay,
applause.
I will.
JW.
The other John Williams.
The other white meat.
Wow. Jasper showing off his biceps.
Oh, please.
Because
I
when
don't
you
know.
have them, you should show them.
No,
Alright.
please.
Between your
This-
biceps and Ralph's hot ass, I don't even know.
Thank you, Dara.
I'm just going to sit here and have some donuts. Bye-bye.
Ralph, so explain just quickly what are the bottom half of your outfit? What is the bottom half?
It's like a workout outfit.
They're active pants, Jasper.
They're active
They're
pants.
active pants. I'm very active. I'm a gad about the town, as many of you know. I lead a very active lifestyle.
Could you
and
explain what GAD is?
A gad is a person who is just
Fucked
debonair, man about
Delusional.
the town, man about the hour. And I'm also celebrating Dick's.
Oh.
60th anniversary.
What?
You all might know that from Seattle. We're home of the affordable hamburger. Yeah.
That's Dick's is a hamburger chain. They are.
I
why
thought
are
it was
you-
a sporting
Why
goods.
are you giving? They didn't pay for that.
That was a quick segue. We were talking about your pants, then you went to Dick's, so I didn't
Well-
know where we were.
Well, speaking
I
of
know.
Dicks in his pants,
Pants.
he's got quite the package.
Well, what, let me just
Dara.
say
Oh,
something.
my.
Planet Earth.
Wow.
What Ralph doesn't. He's very modest. So let me tell you. You know, Ralph is
is.
known to
Ralph's-
have been in drag many times on many television shows. He can tell you Cold Case and Desperate Housewives.
he looks good both ways.
But
Thank
he
you,
always
Jared.
says that what
You're
people
welcome.
don't understand is that he's packing a big black 8-inch
He's
penis
packing something.
Wow.
under those
Wow.
under
Thank
those
you, Jared.
panties
You got a
that he's
tuck?
wearing.
Well, yeah. And I actually learned how to tuck by a very fun friend in K11.
Oh.
So it was very,
Oh, yeah.
Soleil
Oh.
taught me how
How
to do
is
that.
Rose?
Straight to the gutter.
Planet Earth. You
just
see
say-
how he is. No,
we want to give a
First the
shout out to
grave and
Rose.
then the
We want to
gutter.
give a shout out to your mom because she's
Rose.
She's not here with us
Rose Cole
today.
Jr.
She's reclining.
she's
and we
relaxing.
want we're done. And we want to also give a nice shout out to Dr.
Dr.
Murray
Murray.
Zane, who's been recuperating from some gallbladder problems.
Yes. Hello, Dad.
Applause to both.
I love
Yay. Thank you,
Zeta.
JW.
I'll give you my routing number.
And why don't we just go on and give a big shout out to Wendy Zane?
Yes, let's give
Hey,
it. Is
Wendy.
Wendy watching or listening or?
I hope so.
If you are Wendy, thank you for all your fun Facebook comments. Yes, I just
Wendy.
read one. I just
Wendy's
showed
fierce.
one.
Does she fight
to-
with your friends on Facebook when
She
they say
doesn't
that
fight, but
Angeline
she-
has saggy breasts and she goes after
Oh,
them?
that poor
Oh,
thing.
didn't Dennis try to
Can I
photograph
tell that
Angela?
story the
I
other
just
night?
saw it on Facebook.
I don't know if Dennis is watching or listening because
I think Dennis is
probably with his
listening because he
boyfriend
sent me a
and some-
text say, "Oh my God," and I think that was regarding Betty and the
Oh,
drop dead
really?
thing.
Well, he knows that we love Betty.
Oh,
But
did he
no,
write, "Oh my God," Dennis?
Yes, he did.
Oh my God.
Well,
yeah. See, he's
here's
even
the thing.
showing he doesn't know.
In
what
fact,
to
Tony,
expect.
I think Tony Sweet went to this premiere.
He did.
Thursday night, but we had to do a dash and run because we went to the Purge screening. But anyway, I didn't see Tony.
It's hard being a celebrity.
It's so hard being
Tiring.
cut out of movies. But anyway, so we went to this red carpet and they were setting up. They weren't even ready yet. And so Larry King walks in and he checks in and he starts to go toward the carpet. And they're like, "Mr. King, we're not ready." He said, "I am." And he just walked out onto the
I
red
love
carpet.
it. At his age, why
At
not?
his age. And they started taking his pictures or whatever. And so then we all start, blah, blah, blah. Fred Thompson, you know, is there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just glanced down toward the end, and Dominic, my publicist, I look, and Dennis has like Larry King
I saw that
pinned up
picture.
against the wall with like a selfie.
You know, Dennis, who's just not into any of it.
Yeah, he always says he's not into
Right.
any of the showbiz
He lost his
stuff.
shit over
right.
Larry King.
Lost it
And
with
Angeline.
Larry. Well, then we went from there to the Purge screening, and then we went to eat dinner, and we're sitting in the restaurant, and he says, "Oh, don't look now, but here comes Angeline." So at first I thought he meant Angelina Jolie. So I turned,
Right.
and here comes,
Wow, you do have to look if
here
it's her.
comes the hottest mess ever,
Aw,
Angeline.
God love her.
She was in hot pants. She's 87 at least, in hot
Okay.
pants. So she goes to the restroom. Dennis is on this thing now where he's also a photojournalist with his phone.
By the way, Wendy Zane thinks that Dennis should take up photography as a another profession because she thinks he's very good.
Well, he is, but he's doing it, and then he did it to Angeline, and she went after him and reprimanded him. So she because he tries to do candid. He tries to do candid. So she came out of the bathroom, and as she was walking kind of by him,
Dennis.
And he snapped
I'm
her.
really surprised.
He snapped her picture, and her head spun like Linda Blair.
Yeah.
And she came over. And she goes, No. What did you take my picture? And I said, no, nobody wants your picture.
Oh dear.
Wow.
And she was like, well, that's going to be $10.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, sweetie.
Oh, that's sad.
You would have to run me over to get. You won't. I wouldn't. I said I wouldn't give you 10 cents for that picture.
You did not.
Dara, who do you?
You're just vicious.
Well, she's a tired old cunt.
Oh my God.
But anyway,
it's a good thing I showed up, or he'd really talk about me.
Right.
Wow.
I mean, she's practically living out of her car. Everything she owns is in the back of her car. But anyway, so she reprimanded Dennis, and Dennis.
So did Dennis give her $10?
Well, she kept wanting
a pleaser and a
give
Libra.
her $10.
No?
I would have beat the hell out of him. No,
Oh, it's his $10.
it's community property.
Oh,
so
not yet.
I told. So basically, she said, "Well, I'm sitting right over here with my friend." So she handed us her cards.
Oh.
And I thought, oh, bless her heart.
Dear.
So Angelina, if you're listening or watching,
right.
When's the last time you had a billboard?
Oh,
I thought you were going to welcome her on the show.
You know what?
She would actually be a good guest.
She was on a couple of shows here before.
Does she ever give her story, though?
She doesn't come into the studio. She only does it over the phone.
Well, have you seen her?
I have seen her,
screen.
but she does it from outside of the...
In her car.
Yeah, in her car.
She lives in it.
On the property, but not in the studio.
What?
And calls in.
Oh,
Yeah.
she
Why?
pulls onto the lot.
She pulls onto the lot, does the interview from
Is
her
somebody
car.
have a camera out there on her?
No, she does it all by phone.
She clearly does her hair and makeup herself.
Right.
She had the blue eyeshadow, looking like 70s.
Does she have a husband?
No, I don't think so.
And she's very well put together on the phone, actually.
Well, who
Wow.
isn't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
I'd
I
be
mean,
surprised.
in terms of the way that she has her
But for
interview
years, it
styles.
was rumored she had a very wealthy older guy that paid for her
I hope
billboards
so.
and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And he died.
But
and
you know, it's
that's
interesting
it.
because a certain generation now, like maybe one below us, they won't know who she is anymore
Right,
because
right.
she doesn't really. You know who's kind of taking her place is Jesus now. The guy, you've seen?
Yeah.
Well, you don't because you don't
Wait,
live in
what?
West. There is a guy that walks around
Yes,
West
there
Hollywood. In biblical robes,
Yeah.
he's got the long hair and looks just like Jesus, and he's sort of become like the new Angeline, where people take pictures.
Does
of
he
him.
walk along Hollywood Boulevard?
He probably has.
Yes, he has. And Fairfax and all over the
Yeah,
place.
he lives actually
Yeah.
at the corner of Fairfax and.
Does he have a home, or is he?
No, he has an apartment at Sweetser and Fairfax.
Do people pay him, or what is his?
I don't know.
I don't know, but on Hollywood Boulevard, when they're out there in costume,
Yes.
they're not allowed to ask for tips, but you're supposed to tip them
Yes.
if you get a picture with them.
Right.
I get scared of them, so I just tip them all.
Oh, okay.
Because they'll murder you. Wasn't
Well,
there a
remember there
murder?
was one that he
mean,
was on the
yeah.
lam, and I
Yeah.
thought what a great place to hide out though if you're running from the law to be.
Yeah.
And he was Batman, I think.
There's an
Oh,
interesting
okay.
documentary about them, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've watched it on Hulu. It's very interesting.
Well, before we get started, and I forget, we have to thank our sponsors.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Imagine That Productions, Tyrone Artworks, and Wayman Productions. And also, please follow us on Facebook, On the Set with Jasper Cole, and Twitter, On the Set W Jasper. We have my new Facebook, jaspercole.com, which has a link to our website. And then there's still the website, On the Set with jaspercole.com. And there's a Tumblr, and there's a
And Google.
Grinder. Speaking of Grinder, Ralph, where can people find you?
I am only on Facebook, Ralph Cole Jr., and
Oh.
Twitter, Ralph Cole Jr.
Well, those
I'm
are
simple.
the two best places
I don't need to
be.
have a lot of all that
No,
shit.
Do you
when
want
you're
me
a
to give
star,
out
you're
your
a star.
Instagram?
Or you can call them at 323.
Oh.
284-7826.
And Dara, where can
Yes.
people find you?
I have a Facebook page, Entertainment Dish with Dara, and then I'm on Twitter, Dara Zane Scully.
And what days are you at Nordstrom's shopping?
I've been shopping at I got a new ring for
Oh,
myself.
show
for
it
Was
to
it
the
black
camera.
onyx?
Let's zoom in.
To the
It
camera.
is black onyx.
Yes,
Ooh.
that
That
was
is
my
beautiful.
That was my high school stone,
Oh,
black
okay.
onyx.
Oh,
For my
your-
high school
oh,
ring.
Nice. Here it is, right here, David
Nice.
Yerman.
That is beautiful.
Thank you.
Are you going to wear that for the wedding?
If you want me to.
That would be great.
I've been coveting it for over a year, and with all of the situation with Murray, I thought, let me get my birthday present early for myself, from myself.
Because your dad has been ill.
Yeah, it was retail therapy.
I got you.
Yeah,
okay.
and I've done some shopping online, retail therapy too.
Good
Well,
for-
because I need a bar mitzvah,
Yes,
outfit and a maid of honor.
Because you have a bar mitzvah
outfit.
in September.
Yes, September 27th for William.
The youngest and the last.
And the last.
William will be having his bar mitzvah.
Yes.
And that's going to be fun.
Yes, it's going to be fun.
Strippers and everything.
And all of it.
It's going to be exciting.
It is exciting.
Well, and Ralph, let's see. What? Since I've last seen you, Ralph auditioned for First Wives Club, the Broadway
musical. Yeah, that was really exciting.
Yeah, and then you also are up for another play that Randall Kleiser is directing
called The Penis Chronicles.
We'll
be finding out about that in August,
which is appropriate.
Wow. What a part in the First Wives Club?
His name is Dwayne Ferguson. He plays the hairdresser. He's the best friend to the three wives.
Oh gosh, I hope
it's a really fun part. Thank you. Yeah, Simon.
And where would it be? Like out here?
Start in Chicago and go to Broadway.
Oh,
and Simon Phillips
Seriously,
is directing.
If he goes on Broadway, we're flying to New York.
I know. Wouldn't that be exciting?
Because Nicholas loves New York, so Nick and I will go.
It was really fun, the audition.
That is neat.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh.
I always am glad to be in the mix.
Absolutely.
Especially being a black man.
Exactly.
I saw you recently on Edie Now Open Weekend.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody else just saw that. Yeah. Thank you for mentioning that.
It's on Netflix, so I just saw it recently.
Okay, great. Excellent.
JW is just a wealth of information.
Well, he's
like our own Wikipedia.
He's in the know, that's for sure.
Well, you two are a gad about town. Okay, let's look up gad.
Right. Well, before I forget, also, I want to plug myself.
Oh.
Well, who hasn't?
Put a cork in it.
Woo, happy Sunday. We're one denomination. Come on. But no, I'm going to be at Comic-Con next weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Where at?
It's San Diego Convention Center.
Gad.
And that Saturday the 26th is an entire Savage Sisters Day. The film that I'm...
Oh, is Erica going to be there?
No, it's just me and the director.
Oh, what? The girls aren't coming?
They weren't. You have to be picked to be in Comic-Con. But Dan, the director, is coming. So Wednesday on all the social media and on Dread Central, they're doing an exclusive story on the movie, and we're having giveaways, and the first people that show up at the signings are going to get free stuff.
This Wednesday.
Yeah, it's going to come out Wednesday, but you have to show up at Comic-Con on Saturday.
It's so ironic. It's called Savage Sisters. It's all about Savage Sisters, but they weren't invited.
Well, they weren't.
Because they're
Jasper
black.
Cut them.
No,
that's what you meant.
I'm doing this.
That's what you meant about being black in Hollywood.
Let me back up and tell you.
Black up.
Because I got invited. To be there. I gave up my Saturday of making money and signing autographs to just promote Savage Sisters. So I was only able to get the director in.
Okay, so where in San Diego is it? Is it north?
It's at the convention center.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're upstairs in it's called the Autograph Sales Auditorium.
Okay.
I'm with Kevin Sorbo. This is what it ranges from. It goes from.
Wasn't he Hercules or?
Yeah. Kevin Sorbo, Kathy Garver from Family Affair. So it's she
I don't know her.
She was one of the, but it's just a wide range of like TV people. It's always funny. I did it in 2012, so it's kind of funny.
Okay.
Butch Patrick and that,
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, that's happening, and then I'm leaving here at 5 today because I'm going to be on Maria Menounos' show AfterBuzz TV, talking all Ray Donovan, which is my favorite TV show on Showtime.
You'll have to post that so we can watch you.
I will.
So that's an internet show.
It's an internet show, yeah. And
is she just darling? I mean, seriously.
Well, I love her, but I also love her boyfriend. I was hooked on her reality show too.
Yes.
So, and one of her internet shows is now a regular TV show on Fox, Hollywood Today, that Ralph actually did AfterBuzz with AJ Gibson, who was the host at that time, right, Ralph?
Yes, that's absolutely right. Gadabout, a person who flits about in social activity. That's me. Yeah, I flit about in social activity.
That would be me too.
Okay,
that would be me online.
Okay.
That's not in person.
Right.
So, Ralph, go back to what I was just saying. Can you remember?
Oh, I certainly can. I am doing a play.
No.
Okay.
Oh God.
I'm going to start when you derail the show from now on. I'm actually going to call you on it and then ask you to pick up on the last thing we were talking about.
Oh,
Where's
busted,
that
Ralph.
Boomerang
Ralph,
sound.
Yeah.
Did you have teachers say you talk too much in class and he doesn't pay attention?
I was much too talkative.
Yes, me too.
So I was mentioning that you had been on AfterBuzz.
AfterBuzz, yes, now I'm back with you.
With AJ Gibson.
Yeah.
And so, you remember, I'm trying to actually boomerang. Put your phone down, please.
Okay.
Wow, he is really being tardy today.
Don't be tardy for the party.
Okay.
Right.
Oh.
I'm going to need your full
AfterBuzz,
attention.
Refocus.
AJ Gibson.
Let's take a
who
little-
I've worked with.
Right. You did the show when New Normal was
The
on
New
for
Normal.
one season. Yeah, and so I did it in January with Saturday Night Live, and now we're doing Ray Don. What you do is you watch a show, one of your favorite shows, and then you discuss it for an hour. I know it sounds kind of like
like here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, speaking of our
Yes.
guests that we're going to have coming
Yes.
up today, we have two. This is a very highbrow show,
This is
Ralph.
just really snotty.
We have two.
I brought a
Authors.
book in my bag because we had
You
authors.
pretend you read?
Yeah,
Right.
So I would seem bookish.
Yes.
I brought an audio book, and I'm going to listen to it while
Yes.
we're here. And hopefully,
I mean,
It's
books,
piped in your headphones already.
books are just dinosaurs these days.
I mean, I like to because I
Unless
have.
you're Kevin.
Because I travel back and forth from Palm Springs,
Oh.
so I like to.
In your new
I like-
SUV.
I like to listen to the books on tape.
Yeah.
That way,
Yes.
especially if the authors read the book, because then you
Right.
get that bitchy undertone or whatever. Like-
Oh, interesting.
well, I just
yes.
I was just listening to
some authors not
Andy
read?
Cohen's book.
Oh,
wow.
the most talkative?
Something. It's not very
Okay.
good.
Oh, wow. He's getting a lot of bad press lately.
Really?
He just for being a bitch.
Did you watch his
And
5-year
exploiting.
anniversary?
Yes, I did. Exploiting all those people for money. But they let it happen.
Well, yeah. Now he's not president of
Now,
Bravo
people
anymore.
are saying that he got demoted. Like, they pushed him out.
I don't know. I always
Yeah.
thought. Well, he always wanted to be on camera, so I thought maybe now he's just pursuing.
He's buddies with Anderson Cooper and Kelly Ripa, and it just reminds
Jeff
me of
Lewis.
that whole high school thing. We're the popular ones, and you're not in the clique.
Well, it's Kelly
though, he
and her
was not.
gays.
He wasn't in the clique in high school.
No, but people forget he started out in serious news on
Yes, he
CBS
did.
Morning News
Yes, he
and
did.
everything. So,
Yes, he did.
Ralph, do you watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen? You never seen it?
Well, no, I did say because we had a guest. Who was on that? Oh, Coco was on the show.
Who?
Coco Peru.
She's never been on our show.
Who's Coco?
Andy Cohen.
Oh, Coco was on. Coco was the bartender on there.
Mm-hmm.
That's remember Mustang Sally that used to be our fan. She would call into that
Oh,
show.
how is Mustang?
I haven't seen Mustang
We
on
need to talk to her.
Facebook in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so
send
coming
her out
up,
a twit.
coming up at
Tweet
the
it.
bottom of the hour, our first guest, Howard Casner, is a author and a writer. He has a new book called The Rantings and Ravings of a Screenplay Reader.
Okay.
And the reason I want to have him on,
Sounds a little bit like Marcus.
well, what's
Remember when
interesting is he is a friend of Nathaniel Oliver Gray.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Who shout out to Nathaniel?
Yes. Hey,
Who
Nathaniel.
actually Nathaniel gave me a nice mention in his blog about the
Okay.
Purge.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so
Oh,
thanks
very
Nathaniel.
sweet.
But yeah, Howard is. I want to have him on because he actually reads screenplays and does coverage and teaches people how to
okay.
write screenplays. So we've
Okay.
had a lot of screenplay writers on, screenwriters, but we haven't had anyone talk about it from the other side
Interesting.
that actually read screenplays and give coverage and
Right.
opinions. And then our second guest is Raoul Peter Magnilardi, I think is the correct
Magnilardi.
Magnilardi, and he is also a writer, a producer, and a director.
Mm-hmm.
Has his own production company, and he's going to talk about all the great stuff he has going on. And
Okay.
they're both clients of Zach Gruber.
Oh, we
Oh,
love
great.
Zach.
Yeah,
Zach
and
is fierce.
I think Zach is going to try to make
I
it.
hope so.
I think he was up in Santa Barbara this weekend. So,
Oh, okay.
given the choice of leaving Santa Barbara and coming back
Well,
here,
you can only have a little bit. After a few nights of the country, you need the city again.
yeah, Santa
Yes.
Barbara's the country.
A little bit.
Little bit,
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
so.
Jessica Simpson just got married up there 2 weeks ago.
And her
At the
gay dad was the
brought his-
minister.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Although it's funny, he's not really claiming to be gay, but he's got
Who
his
does?
20. I know. I'm so sick
Right.
of the gays. God, the gays are taking over the world.
Okay.
Oh, anyway.
Mm.
Is Ralph on camera?
Of course.
He's
Ralph,
just
what was
eating
that?
away.
Tell us again, your
He-
lemon water?
I didn't put lemon in today, just
Oh, really?
ice water.
Because you're sour enough? Oh,
No,
okay.
because I have such a long day.
You're really sour today, Jasper.
No,
No, it is,
I'm
no.
just.
Have you been getting your workouts in?
I have been. I'm.
What's the matter? You need a little therapy.
Well, as you know, Betty died a week ago today.
Okay.
So it's been a very sad week.
So
and
she died on the Sunday. Oh, that's okay.
She died a week ago
Sunday
today.
the 13th.
Yeah, Betty's dead. So
I have no words for him.
no, I'm just saying.
Dennis.
Betty is dead.
Poor Dennis.
It's still hard
I'm
to
going
believe.
back to Dennis
Right.
now.
It's
Poor
still hard to
Dennis.
believe because it's funny is it's not funny, but it's
It's
not
good
funny.
that you believe
But
that.
you're
that-
laughing.
No.
But
Right.
yet you laugh.
You know how
Wow.
people have
Are you
nervous.
the kind? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They have nervous
I laugh
laughter.
at funerals.
Well, you have to remember the Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh, the clown.
Bubbles. What was
I
it?
think I'm too young for that.
The clown.
What's that? You're too young.
I think I'm too young for Mary Tyler Moore.
That shit was hilarious. That episode was hilarious. And she just burst out laughing. And you're likening yourself to Mary
no,
Tyler
I was
Moore
laughing
is what
because she
you're
said she was too young. But you know the Waltons,
Barely.
right? Okay.
But you brought up the Mary
know the
Tyler
Brady
Moore
Bunch.
episode.
because
to
you know how people
illustrate-
laugh when they're nervous about
Yes, they do.
situations.
They do.
So I was just saying that it's so bizarre how we're just here one day and then we're gone.
Yes.
You know, it's not like you have a lengthy illness and then you die.
I think it's better that for
Yeah.
her and her family.
Yeah.
Let's ask this question now. Let's just turn the tables.
Oh, here we go.
What if we
He
had
thinks
a,
he's on Man Chat.
Well, it's like The Purge, to help you be like, to help promote your movie and
Right.
to keep it topical. Because I do listen. In The Purge, they get is it 12 hours or 24?
12 hours.
12 hours where you can commit any crime and not be punished for it.
Oh.
What if we had something where people could come back from the dead for 12 hours?
I would love that.
Didn't they just
In
do a
some ways, that would be good and bad, right?
Wasn't that just a TV show this
It
past
is.
season with Francis Fisher? What was you remember? I don't know if it got picked
Wouldn't
up.
you love to just visit with Martha? I would love to visit with Linda.
Oh yeah, but don't
But
you
some
think-
people make you. If you found out, like, if there was a certain day, like this Wednesday, all deceased people will be alive for 12 hours. That
I
could
might hide. That'd be scary.
Yeah, that could wreak havoc
But you
for a lot
can't
of
pick
different
who
people.
they are. You mean just all deceased people?
Yeah, all deceased. How do?
Like Lincoln and George Washington.
Wow.
I'm acting like I
interesting.
know history.
Could
Right.
you imagine the truths that would be revealed?
I know. Oh my God. Or what if it was like all Negroes, and then it would be.
Oh,
like,
then we'd really have to hide.
Then I would
because
get the
You would for
watermelon.
sure have
There
to
would be
hide.
enough watermelon
You'd have
left,
to
right?
hide.
Right, Ralph?
Oh,
I meant
wow.
that in a very organic way.
Ouch.
Whenever people make
everybody knows
racial
I am not
slurs
racist.
about
I
food,
don't
it's
ever
Let me
know
explain
Jasper.
something. Let me
It's
explain
sad.
something. Everyone knows I am Cherokee Indian and part black. So how would I
Where
ever
are you
be?
part black?
You know where I'm part black.
By injection.
Wow.
I mean, seriously, Dara, you've known me a long time.
Okay.
Or is that,
Oh,
or is
my
that
goodness.
Italian? I don't know. It's all the same.
Oh.
Getting
At
flush.
a certain point.
JWs.
Yeah.
All right, should we go to entertainment news?
You know,
Yes.
I'm
Are
not,
you
ready?
I'm not, but one last point.
Oh,
I'm not big
gee.
on the hoods on the penises, but that's beside the
Oh,
point.
you like cut?
Wait, you
Well,
like
first of all,
circumcised or
I
not
don't
circumcised?
talk about.
I think that's
I don't-
entertainment news.
Wow.
Okay. Are we
well,
going to entertainment news?
Let's pretend we're on
Wait,
we're
isn't-
Ron
isn't-
Burgundy on Anchorman.
That's hilarious.
So you're
I
not
love
into
you,
hoods.
Jane, you ignorant bitch.
Well,
Go,
yes.
Dara, you
Jane.
skanky whore.
Yeah,
Take
I
it
am
away.
skanky whore.
Ignorant, misguided slut.
But I think Howard is coming in, right? At 3:30?
No, we're doing
Okay,
entertainment.
well, we're doing entertainment.
Yeah.
So, where do we
didn't-
start?
You don't like uncircumcised?
First of all, hey man, look, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not here
Because
talking-
you were say hoodie.
I'm not talking about penises, but in the locker room, I've seen.
You've talked about penises when you're
but
in the locker room.
I just
they
don't.
tried to push you into a locker in the locker room.
No,
You
that's
could-
your childhood.
No, you could
I
fit-
would have pushed you
Shit.
into. I would have been the one
Shit.
pushing you into the locker room.
Bitch, you could fit into a
I
locker
mean,
now.
you
I
would
need
be
a
in
cig-
the
I
locker
need a
room.
cigarette.
No,
With
seriously.
those fucking pants
No,
on,
shit,
you would have been.
motherfucker.
Your
I
head would
could-
have been in the toilet.
You could fit
bitch.
in the fucking locker now.
But Dara,
goddammit.
anyway, speaking of, are you watching the New Jersey Housewives?
I'm watching New Jersey because Dina Manzo's back, and I just think she's stunning.
She's classy.
She's beautiful.
But in a sort of
trashy Jersey way. But
can't
she's
hold
one
a
of the-
can't hold a relationship and still
Well,
the same man over. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Like
she
our
married a
segues?
cheater. She married a cheater. She
What
knew he
happened
was
to
a
her
cheater.
show on HGTV?
I don't know if it's still on. I didn't watch it.
I think it only went one season.
But apparently there's some controversy because Teresa Giudice, I don't know how to spell pronounce her last name. She was supposed to be on Watch What Happens Live tonight, but apparently Andy Cohen kind of made fun of her legal problems.
Oh.
And she didn't want to come on. I'm not sure.
Andy Cohen, who's just salivating that they were able to film her legal
Yes,
problems
yes.
for the show. When's her? They postponed the sentencing for them, right?
I think so.
It's funny because everyone acts like she's not going to go to jail. She has just as
Exactly.
much chance to go as just a much.
It's
Just a
okay.
much. Have I had a stroke?
No.
No, you're really together and fierce today, so you're fine.
Thank you. No,
You're
but
welcome.
she could go down too.
She could go down.
That's interesting. It's kind of sad for the kids.
It is sad for the kids. And then just even having her kids on there and they get upset on TV. I don't know. Kevin just gets so freaked out that like those shows. He watched Orange County with me last week and he said, I am never watching one of those shows again because I cannot get that hour back. He was like so pissed at himself.
But he watched it.
He got sucked in.
But
he
why
watched it.
But does he understand? He watched it, so it was working.
So,
it sucked him in.
Exactly.
Wow.
Get over yourself.
Yeah, Orange County is. I fast.
Orange County's
I fast
kind
forward
of
through
boring
all of
this
them.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite. Now,
And New York is boring too this year.
Except the finale's Tuesday and Aviva's leg is on the floor.
I like Aviva, but that was so that was such forced drama.
Her prosthetic leg is on the floor.
That is forced drama.
Who won't watch that?
She says the only thing fake and hollow about me is my leg, and she takes her leg off and throws it. To me, that's sacrilegious to take off your prosthetic leg and do that. I find it highly offensive. I will watch it.
I took my dick all across the room.
I will unscrew this arm right now.
I mean, it's just,
Wow.
New York is kind of, but
they were pulling off their earrings and she was unscrewing
her
leg.
She thought, bitch, I'm going to one up you. I'll pull my leg off.
Yeah.
You know how they're like this, Ralph.
And the Vaseline, she's like, bitch, shit, I will knock you out.
Leg up.
I will club you with my leg.
People will be on TV for anything.
Yeah.
They'll humiliate themselves.
You're on
They'll
camera
ruin
now.
That is not my choice.
She hates
That
it.
is not my choice. They'll humiliate
I'm trying
themselves.
to get her to be on Orange County Housewives.
They are not knocking on my door. They'll humiliate
knock on
themselves.
my
They'll ruin
door.
their relationships.
Yeah.
They'll ruin their marriages
for $30,000 a week.
Oh, please.
Oh no, not worth it.
Yeah, no.
But can we talk about the best new reality show? Is Leah Remini's show?
I haven't seen it.
The best.
I haven't seen it
Okay.
either. No, what is it?
Okay, well, Leah Remini, who left
Yeah.
Scientology.
Yes, good
First
for
of all,
her.
this is her family. It's her mother, her sister, her mother's husband, and they run a restaurant in Studio City called Vivian's.
Were they not in Scientology? Just
yeah,
her?
the whole family.
They all left.
And what's interesting is her sister's husband. His whole family can't speak to them now because they're still in Scientology.
Oh my God.
And J-Lo's her best friend.
Yes.
So J-Lo's on the show,
Yeah.
and it just shows this really great, fun side of Leah Remini.
Good.
Because she was so
Bitchy, you
on
said.
King of Queens and
Yeah.
stuff. But her husband, she's got a daughter who's hilarious, and she's
I didn't even know she had a daughter.
they have a kid. It's funny, when Norma was doing King of Queens, I remember when she was a baby
Wow.
and she had the Scientology nanny. So you had to be
See,
surrounded
if you're
by
in a
Scientology.
religion that doesn't let you talk to other people, and come on.
Yeah.
I mean, what is wrong with people?
But they had the first episode. They're throwing a house party to thank all their friends that stood by them during the transition. So Leah's got her phone book out, and she's like, "Oh shit, I can't call them. Oh, I can't call them."
What channel is it?
It's on TLC.
What's it?
Thursday.
Leah Remini
It's
and
called.
family?
It's called Leah Remini. Everything's relative. It's all relative.
Okay.
And her mother is hilarious. A character. She got a
Wow.
tramp stamp on
Oh
her
my
ass the
God.
other day. And her sister, like I said, and so Vivian's is this restaurant on Ventura Boulevard in Studio City. It's been
Okay.
there for years, and they run the restaurant, and it's just fun to see her.
Okay.
I'm
I'll
pretty
watch it.
Looks like she lives. I think it's Lake Hollywood.
Okay.
Just seeing their day-to-day life.
Right.
And then did you watch Eddie and Leanne?
I did watch Eddie and Leanne, and they're really only famous now and relevant because of Brandy and that whole situation.
Right.
They don't really have chemistry. I don't. That's a whole nother situation I don't really understand. So there's no star appeal with their show. And
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed.
I did, but the thing
I know
found
that she lives in a gated
in
community.
Malibu.
No, she lives in Hidden Hills.
Hidden Hill.
And she has pissed off the residents there.
Well, they
because
live together, right?
Because she's let the paparazzi come through the gate, and people want to have privacy back there.
Did you see, though, what was fascinating? The first episode where she went to BMG, the record company, and
She had one person with her.
Yeah, so JW, being
Daryl
in the
Brown.
music industry,
Yeah.
so she had a 20-year record deal.
That's just
She
bizarre.
signed when she was 11.
Wow.
She was locked in for 20 years, and so the first scene in the show,
Stu-
she's being released from her.
No, the first scene is talking about Brandy
Oh,
because
well,
that's
I
all
mean,
they have.
But
Yeah.
one of the
Yes,
scenes is she
yes.
goes, because say what you want about her, she's a phenomenal singer.
Yeah, she is.
I mean, you could say Brandy doesn't have that.
No, agree.
Yeah,
I
Brandy
totally agree.
is just a housewife.
Right.
But Leanne
Not even
is
a housewife
fierce
anymore.
talent. I mean, so
She is.
Yeah, but
She's trashed herself because she's probably just so insecure. I mean, you marry a guy that's cheating and he's
But she
way
had all
better
those
looking than
problems
you.
with her parents. She was emancipated, but I just
Yeah.
thought I've never
Well-
heard of a 20-year record deal.
I think her dad was involved in that.
Right.
Because she was signed with her dad or her dad's agency.
He was her
or-
manager at the
Yeah,
time.
Yeah. And it's very interesting because Leanne, I think she was in that movie Coyote Ugly, which
Yes.
was all about her music. Did you
Right.
ever see that
Oh,
movie?
I've heard of it.
That's a great movie. I
Okay.
think.
Yeah, I
yeah,
did
and
hear it
then
was a good movie.
they met. She was acting in a TV movie or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's like that Tori Spelling, Dean McDermott.
It's
It's
very
just so
similar.
disgusting, trashy.
Yeah.
Like, really? Just, you're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing yourself in front of kids. And Stop it.
On Sirius XM, there's a Larry Flick has a show called The Jolt, and it's a radio show in New York.
Okay.
So Eddie and Leanne were on, and he's known her because Larry used to be a reviewer for Rolling Stone magazine.
Oh, wow.
So he's known her. She was so hilarious, so funny, so real.
Wow.
He said what she's known for is being a straight shooter. She used to take people on even as a teenager.
Oh, wow.
And she said whereas Brandy pretends to be a straight shooter for the camera, she's really pretty weak and mousy if you confront her off camera.
Oh.
So she said Brandy lives on Twitter, but when Leanne has went after her face to face off camera, she cowers down. That's what Leanne said. So Brandy, we love you. I'm just putting it out there what Leanne said.
Well, I don't think you call those boys your sons. They're not your sons. You didn't birth them. It's just so many boundaries crossed. But
one thing,
just more people being famous for having no star appeal.
One thing Eddie said though, he admitted that their show is somewhat produced. Like he said, they tried to sell it as a sitcom. And so he goes, well, no, reality TV is for entertainment. He goes, it's not scripted per se. And then Leanne kind of jumped in on the radio. She's like, well, I mean, we don't really,
we don't have a final
Eddie, we don't
say.
really, because he was sort of going in, because Eddie's pretty straightforward. He's just like,
straightforward cheater.
Yeah.
He's like a serial cheater.
Now, are you one of the women that just would take your panties off because he's so...
No.
People think he's so gorgeous?
No, I don't go for that at all.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay, because
No.
Wendy Williams said she would leave her husband for him.
Oh, please.
Wow.
Really?
And happy 50th to Wendy Williams.
I
She had
love
her
her.
50th birthday.
Yes.
All right.
And she performed in Vegas last
They're all
week.
in Vegas this weekend. A lot of the reality people are.
Oh, really?
At Caesars.
Yeah,
Some of the housewives.
Wendy performed.
I don't know why.
She did a 75-minute stand-up act.
Oh, that's
cool.
right. That was her premiere
Wow,
stand-up.
75
How
minutes.
did she do?
She showed clips. It looked funny. Apparently, because she was not Wendy the Hot Topic woman. She was motherfucker this and
Oh,
cocksucker
really?
that. Yeah.
Is it on YouTube?
I don't know yet if it's on YouTube,
I'll
but
look.
they showed clips and they had to keep bleeping because she
Oh,
was
okay.
like, yeah, because Wendy was back in the radio days.
Yes.
She was like down
Right.
and dirty.
She was
Oh,
like
I
the
love
female
sirens.
Perez Hilton.
I hear sirens.
Hide your purse.
It's
Was she-
comforting when
was
I
she
hear
ever
sirens.
sued? Wendy back in the radio days, do you know?
I don't know. Probably.
You need to
didn't
get
a lot
on
of-
her show.
I would love to. I couldn't even get Denise on her show, and she was on a hit show at the time. So.
Oh, well, she's
But
too
Denise
pretty.
did
Maybe
Monique,
Denise
though.
is too
She
pretty
did
for
Monique.
Wendy.
And
Yeah.
and Denise was pregnant, I think, when she did Monique, wasn't she?
She announced it on
Okay.
Monique's.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, should we take? We better take our first break.
Yes.
Oh, already?
Yeah, because
3:40. Is
Howard's
Howard
going to
here?
be ready to come
Yeah,
in. I guess.
he is out there.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're going to go ahead and take our first
Okay.
break, and when we come back, we're going to have Howard Casner.
Casner.
And you've been listening and watching On the Set with Jasper Cole, and don't hold it against us, and please come back.
Come back, Planet Earth. Ooh, yes!
You're back on the set with Hollywood's bad guy, Jasper Cole. Here's Jasper Cole.
Hey, howdy, and welcome back to On the Set with Jasper Cole. We are, God, the show's just flying along. We just took our first break, and we are back on this very highbrow show because our next guest is laughing like, maybe the guest after that we're talking about. Anyway, we are back here. We've been gone for almost 7 weeks, so both my co-hosts are busy on their phone right now doing research, I guess.
7 weeks. We haven't been on the air. I'm listening to what
Bitch,
you're saying.
you just said you were so happy to be back.
I am happy.
Oh,
to be
good.
back.
Okay. And Dara, say hi to everyone. Thanks for coming back. Wow. See what happens? She's
Hi,
like,
everybody.
she's like checked out. Were you online shopping?
No, I've done enough of that. But I thought we were going to have the camera on Howard.
Well, we always, we
'Cause
usually
he's
have.
prettier.
Remember, there's usually like we do a format where I usually
Okay.
say hello again to the co-host,
right.
and then we
Hi,
say,
everybody.
and then we say hi to my way too gay sidekick.
Yes,
Hello,
Ralph.
Planet Earth. I know how to take the bull by the horn,
That's
Daryl.
right.
You know me.
Okay,
And
let's do another take and try to make.
What do you
let's make,
say? Let's not make it a
let's
meal.
let's not
Let's
make a
have
meal out of it,
let's have
and,
it be an
and let's try to
appetizer.
make it
We're live.
sincere. Okay, and welcome my way too gay sidekick, Ralph Cole Jr.
Hey, Planet Earth, welcome back.
How did that feel for you?
Not so good.
No, it didn't feel organic.
Yeah, it didn't feel.
He should be up because he's had a lot of sugar.
He's had a lot of sugar.
Yes.
Ralph, well, since you're right there and you're so energetic, please
I
introduce
would
our very
like to
distinguished
introduce
guest.
our distinguished highbrow guest. He is an author, a celebrated blogger. He comes to us also as a guest from Nathaniel Oliver Gray, and as a lot of you will remember,
Nathaniel.
we've had Nathaniel on the show twice, and the last time he was our special co-host guest. So without further ado, we'd like to bring on Howard Casner.
Woohoo! All right.
Yes.
Welcome,
Howard.
Thanks. Yeah. Make sure his mic's on.
Is it on?
It's on.
I think I hear you.
You have to get a
Can you hear me?
little
Yeah,
closer.
that's good.
Or bring it closer
Nice,
to you.
Howard.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a big black thing, I know. And I don't mean Ralph.
Jasper.
I just meant that one
Jasper's
right there.
been on fire today. I'm warning
Oh,
you.
please. I'm just the
I have some
usual.
Ativan if you need some.
Well, you've taken too much. So no, welcome to the show. First
Thank
of all, we've had many writers on. We've had actors and producers and directors, but we have not had, I would say, a screenplay consultant or someone who basically reads a lot of screenplays and helps writers and does coverage. And so
I destroy their souls before.
I was
help
just going to
them.
set you up for that. Yeah,
Dream
yeah.
crusher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no.
So
No,
how,
not really. No.
well, I mean,
You
every
crush too many dreams, you stop getting paid.
Yeah,
so-
yeah.
right. It's a fine line. You got to walk. It's not like a therapist. You
Yeah.
got to keep them coming back, right?
Oh.
So, well, I mean, it kind of is the same. You don't want to cure them completely because they're not
Oh,
going to come back.
yeah,
I know,
I guess,
whatever.
yes.
So, what is your journey in show business? Like, how did you start out? And we always end up places we don't necessarily think we're going to, and vice versa.
I'm not exactly I'm still heading to the place that I'm.
Well,
still
I know
to go
it's a
to.
journey.
But
you got here,
I started
so.
out as a playwright actually in the theater in
Right.
Chicago.
Right.
Moved here in 2001. I'm also a screenwriter as well, but I sort of happened into starting to do read screenplays for various contests, and some of them required detailed coverage to go back. And over the last 10 years, it's just grown and grown. And
As a contest, you entered a
grown.
contest.
I started reading for contests.
So, like when there's screenwriting competitions, and so people submit their screenplays.
Oh, I
do
see.
I do the thumbs up and thumbs down, and for some of them, you also have to do detailed coverage for it because they pay for it.
And so,
When
if
you mean detailed
I was going to say,
coverage.
can you, for the listeners
I
who
have
aren't
no idea.
familiar with
Well,
coverage,
coverage is basically you tell the writer what they did right, what they did wrong, and what you think you can do, what they can do to make it better.
Okay.
and most studios and production companies have coverage people. Well, they used to. I don't
Yes,
know
but
about
that's actually sort of a different kind of coverage,
right?
Because for one thing, you usually don't have to worry about hurting anybody's feelings. I used to read for Here Networks,
Right.
And the nice thing about that is I could say, "Oh, this is a piece of," and it would.
Right.
And if it did get back to the reader, to the writer, well, he shouldn't be reading it anyway. So
Right.
he
Exactly.
deserves what
Now,
he
with
gets.
all due respect, who are you to judge?
as long as
You've heard that before, right?
As long as I get paid for it, that's enough
Thank
of a
you.
qualification for me. I'm actually very good at it.
Mm-hmm.
All my life, I've been a know-it-all. I mean, I have been a real know-it-all. And finally,
And you know you are.
I finally found a job where that's actually a good thing to be.
See,
you know?
that's right.
So what happened is the very first contest I was read for, Slam Dance, is I discovered the first place winner almost at the last minute. It was like a week to go, and I read a screenplay, and I called the guy and said, "You've got to have everybody read this screenplay," and then it came in first. And ever since then, and whenever I would do coverage, they would say, "Oh, this is great coverage," and
You don't have
we'd
to
like
be
to
on
get
me.
that. You know,
Well,
Now,
so
do you get pulled in? Do you know it's a good screenplay right away?
not necessarily right away, but actually, it doesn't take very long to know. One of the ways I describe it is you've seen the movie The Producers.
Yes.
When they're reading the screenplay and they go, touch it, feel it, smell it. You know, it's actually the same way for a good screenplay.
Right.
I would go in and say, touch it, read it. Just smell it. This is.
Yeah, because
an
that's how I'm with
incredible
books. They
screenplay.
have to pull me in on the
Right.
first page.
Well, in screenplays,
Well-
there was always that sort of added. The thing used to be you've got to grab them in the first 5 or 6 pages.
They say that, but
it just depends, right?
no, you don't. The problem with that is most people interpret that as the plot has to.
Right.
No, no, but just
and it doesn't.
the clever.
It's got to something. The characters have to engage you.
The plot can be the most brilliant plot on the earth. If the characters aren't there, I really don't care.
Right. Right.
So, and people misunderstand that. Yeah, you do have to grab me, but it really has to be the characters, not so much.
You have to like
the
the
plot.
characters right away.
Yeah.
Do you judge for Slam Dance now?
Yes.
Okay. I think. Do you know Anthony Mendel?
The name sounds familiar.
I think
but-
he's an acting coach, and I think one of his screenplays won a Slam Dance.
Yes.
Right? Is that right? Yes.
He did something about. Didn't he do it about the girls that were being raised in a communist country?
Yes.
And the awful thing.
Yeah. He was an actor, and that now he has a really great acting studio.
Right.
And I know he wrote. I just remember that. So anyway,
It was
Slam Dance
it was
is a very
really good screenplay.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
Slam Dance is a great competition.
Yes. And I also read for the Final Draft Big Break. That's
Right.
the two biggies. So.
Those are big.
Yes.
So so that's interesting. I'm a producer, writer over the years. I didn't really think about the difference you give coverage something like a competition as opposed to working for a studio.
Well, yeah.
Because
if you give it back to the individual who actually wrote it, you have to be nice.
Right.
You learn coded ways of saying things.
Right.
Which actually I sort of made a mistake when I read something for a friend of mine, and I started using the coded phrases, and then on the editor said, well, it helps you do coverage if you use coded phrases. And then he said, oh, now I know what you really thought about my screenplay. And I said, oh, well.
Well, say like at the competition, how many judges, for instance, like at Slam Dance, is it a consensus that has to happen, or one judge has the final say and the other people read, or is it?
No, what it is everybody. You get a screenplay to read,
right,
and you score it. And if it gets above a certain score, 2 other people have to read it.
Oh, okay.
If it's a little less, then only 1 other person has to read it, and then it just keeps on.
So
going.
there's a scoring system.
Yes.
Do you have a time frame when you're supposed to read the screenplay?
Well, we certainly have a deadline for when we have to make the announcements for
Right.
who makes quarterfinalists and semifinalists.
And do they give you a copy where you can write notes for yourself too, or highlight?
No, I just do that on my own. I do it on my computer. So.
Right.
Right.
And all of this then, just to get it in, led me to write a lot of blog entries, mainly what I learned reading for screenplay competitions over the years. And I gathered it together into Rantings and Ravings of a Screenplay Reader, published through
and where
Amazon.
can people find? I want to get a plug-in for that.
It's through Amazon.
Amazon.com.
Just have to look up my name or look up the name of it on Amazon.com.
And are you on Facebook or Twitter?
I am. I have both I'm the only Howard Casner on Facebook.
Wow.
It's because the unusual spelling of my
So
last
it's a
name.
C, right?
It's CASNER.
Right.
Yes. And I also have a Howard Casner script consultation page as well.
Okay.
And then my Howard Casner at WordPress.
At WordPress. Okay, great. And we'll put that on my
And Twitter. I have
website.
everything.
You're
Yeah.
out there,
Yeah,
Tumblr.
Yeah, WordPress is where I welcomed you today, and then you
That's right.
friended me.
That's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Because I was reading some of your blogs.
Yes.
Now, are you still writing besides the blogs, are you still a playwright or writing screenplays yourself?
I
know.
am. I actually, my latest screenplay is actually not doing so badly in contests so far. So
Good. That's interesting when you're on the other side,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, it is.
Do you use a different name or your name?
It's my name. The only
Okay.
time I ever used a different name is I entered a gay screenwriting contest, and I knew everybody knew me.
Right.
So I had a friend use his name and enter for me. Ended up with 2 in the
Nathaniel.
top 10.
No.
It was somebody else.
So do you get any of the coded responses from your own work?
I've only actually asked for coverage a couple of times through Slam Dance, sort of as a favor,
Right.
in exchange. And no, I mean, I get honest feedback because
Right.
they don't know who I am. They have no idea who
Right.
I am. So
Well, it's interesting because the few screenplays I was involved in, you do start to look for a consensus. It's like with anything, you start looking for if we would get coverage back, and if there were 4 consistent points about one area, the characters or whatever,
Right.
You got to start looking at it, going, well, there's some, clearly this is how I need to fix this,
right.
But I'm sure there's for everything, there's that one person that defies the odds. The screenplay doesn't follow the rules, and it does well.
Well, those are the ones I look for.
You like
those? Those are the
yes.
ones I love, and I think we're actually sort of in a kind of crisis in movie making in the U.S. Our screenplays, our movies aren't showing much imagination. They aren't challenging things. And without that, without innovation, without trying to do things differently, the art form is eventually just going to die.
It's also formulaic.
It's all going to be
kind of the way TV has become in certain ways. Although it was, and now it's come back in a different yes,
TV
which is probably what's hurt films and screenplays in some ways.
Well, I actually put a question once on Facebook whether we needed a new wave, and they said, and a couple of people said, no, TV's doing that. Movies just need to be the big events that we go to. And I went, oh, wow, God, that's a depressing thought.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, those days, it's not the same. I mean,
not in the U.S.
Not in the U.S., but it's different. You're in Europe and other places.
Well, the best films in the world are coming out of South Korea and Romania.
Wow.
In Romania.
And Romania, those are the two, and then Europe after that.
Right. Even a lot of U.S. productions shoot in Romania and Eastern. Well, they were. They were. I don't. There was a period there that.
Yeah.
What is making the Romanian and South Korean scripts more likable or accessible or interesting?
Well, they're not more likable or accessible. Believe me, 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days is a really incredible film about abortion.
Right.
Under the communist regime.
A comedy.
Yes. No. Yes. No.
Jennifer Aniston.
It's no problem, child.
No, thank you.
No.
Sex tape.
For Romania, I think it's just because they're no longer under communists, and suddenly you get a few people who are making really interesting and different movies, and it just.
And they're not afraid to speak their voice.
And they have a new, and it's actually kind of different. In Romania, they're very interested in social issues. In South Korea, they're mainly interested in doing genre things, mysteries, suspense, thrillers, horror movies. But both are just incredible to do.
Just innovative and taking chances and not being so formulaic.
Yeah, if you've ever seen The Host from South Korea, a monster movie.
Right,
just,
That's interesting.
Yeah.
We always, we forget about.
Do you have any of these movies on your Facebook for people to watch? Is it like a list? Because
no.
Actually, that's a good idea.
Actually, though, I'm sort of in this once a month meetup group for movie club, and we're supposed to come up with our 100 greatest movies. So I think since I went to all the trouble to do that, that's probably going to end up on my blog at some time. There probably won't be a lot recently. Every year, though, I do the Howies.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Where I do my top 10 list and give my awards.
Okay.
Well, you sort of look like Howie Mandel a little bit too. Have you heard that? You've heard that before.
No.
A little bit. Howie's a good-looking guy.
I look like any bald-headed actor over 40. Who has a good
Who's the great actor we love from like Halloween movies? He passed away.
Donald Pleasance. Yes,
I look like Donald Pleasance. Yes. From the moment I saw you, I thought that's who.
I look like Hector Alessandro. That's a biggie. So.
Yeah.
I get Sally Kirkland a lot.
I can see that.
You get Melba Moore and Cicely Tyson, right? A lot. And Red Fox. Sometimes. But, it's fascinating that starting out when you were writing screenplays, what was your take on getting coverage at that time? Was that something you welcomed or?
Yes.
Not knowing that you were going to end up.
I would be in writing groups.
Right.
And the problem most people have with coverage, and it can be a problem, is often when you're in writing groups, the way they have it set up is they just start telling you all the awful things about it.
It's kind of like acting classes.
Yes.
Workshops.
And, so when I have a writers group right now. So if you start out with saying, tell me what you like about this, things always go
It's always a much nicer ride after that.
And they're much more appreciative of the things that you say that aren't working.
Right.
So I think that's what it is. I've always started out saying the things that work and always try to emphasize the things that work and then try to give very concrete ways that they can fix it. And if you do that, you're always going to have some people who are just so defensive. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
I once yelled at a person, almost yelled, and said, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Right.
And after that, they calmed down and became a lot more acceptive. So, yes.
Well, I always say from the acting side of things and producing side, the business has changed so much, and I don't want to start sounding like that old person that says that, but I have many friends that have been Emmy-nominated writers, a few right now who don't even have agents. So what I'm always fascinated, what advice do you give a young writer who's starting out in Hollywood today? Because I get young actors come to me all the time on the acting side, and I'm almost to the point now where it's like, ugh, I don't even know where to start now. You know,
today, I mean, the first piece of advice is the same piece of advice I'd always give: write from your heart, write from a passion, have something to say. But secondly, and this is where it's really changed: do it yourself. Find somebody, two other people, a director and a producer, and co-produce it
Shoot
yourself.
it yourself.
And do it yourself.
That's a great point. And you can today. And there's, in some ways, you know, indie films are back again in a way. You know, they're saying now shoot something for 100 to 300,000, and which is what Sundance was supposed to be in the original days, and then it became.
And it was, but then
it
became very much more marketable and commercial.
Right. I have someone approached me recently about a screenplay, and I just said, you know, I would think if you can raise the money, shoot it yourself, own the material, you know, own it yourself and do it.
Write what's called a minimalist drama, something that takes place in just about one location over only a few days with a relative small number of people.
Right.
You know, and that's the way to start.
Start minimalist.
Start minimalist.
And because, you know, there was a time when I was also producing indie films, you know, it was the whole thing about, it's one thing to shoot your movie and it could be brilliant. Then you got to sell it. And we always you had to have the quasi name. And that could be, it's interesting that list you get with, you know, it could be, you know, like Yasmin Bleeth because of Baywatch or something. You always kind of needed that. Or has that changed somewhat? Yeah.
There are so many movies now I see where the people in it are
just
so
unknowns.
relatively unknown.
Right.
I mean, you can go on IMDb and you see, yeah, sure, they've worked.
Right.
But
We just saw the Planet of the Apes movie, and the guy that played the lead like scientist, I didn't even see him ever before.
yeah, he's been around for a while.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I know who you shoot.
And then Carrie Russell was
It's
in
not
it. And I
Jack
thought they could have given it to someone else besides her.
Carrie?
Yes, except that she's an old friend of the director.
See, there's always that.
Well,
even in the Purge Anarchy.
think
But you're
heard-
right.
I
She
think-
had absolutely nothing to do in the movie.
I think that you
I
hurt
didn't
yourself when
see
you
it.
do that. I mean, you
Yeah.
could have got somebody different.
It didn't really matter. There wasn't a part to play anyway. So
Right.
Well, yeah.
Because those are more like
Yeah.
concept movies, you know?
Yeah.
It's like The Purge. I'm in The Purge. And Frank Grillo, like, he's not a household name who's the lead in this. But if you look up Frank, I mean, he's worked for years.
Yeah.
But that's another kind of movie. You can pretty much almost put anybody in those parts because it's about the theme, the concept of what's happening.
that is true. But I think a movie will do better if it's something like Iron Man and you get Robert Downey Jr.
Yes.
in it,
Right.
or you have the X-Men and you get Hugh Jackman
Right.
and
Yes.
Ian McKellen. And
But maybe
all
they
those
didn't
people
want to
in it.
pay those salaries.
I suspect that.
Yeah.
With I mean, Andy Serkis is just brilliant in the lead.
Yes, he
Right.
was. So much
But-
emotion in his eyes.
But yeah, how much money is left after the CGI to do?
Right. And Andy's kind of become the go-to guy for that
That's
that
right.
stuff.
And the
you know.
characters aren't very interesting in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. So
No.
I didn't
it
see
might be
it.
hard to.
I saw
I
it
didn't
because
see
I
it.
have two teenage
I know it
boys, and
dropped
if I
50
don't go with them to the movies, I never, so I have to start going to some of these movies.
Yeah. I think it dropped 50% from last week. But
Oh,
that's
really?
okay.
It was
I guess.
okay.
I
It
think it's
wasn't.
still
It wasn't
doing very
gratuitous.
well. Yeah.
It wasn't gratuitous violence like a lot of them are.
Right.
So it was fine.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make them see a romantic comedy on my birthday.
Oh.
what are you
I'm
gonna
gonna
go
make
see?
them see the Keira Knightley.
Oh, I'm
Begin
seeing that
Again.
on Monday.
Orlando
Yeah.
Bloom.
See that
No, the
No,
Mark
oh,
Ruffalo,
Mark
who
Ruffalo.
I
Mark
adore.
Ruffalo. And Adam Levine is in that too.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
I'm going to make them see that in there.
Oh, that's not too. They like that. That's
You
not too
know,
much of a
God
chick,
forbid
chick
they have a
flick.
feeling.
Right. So, so Howard, in terms of genre, right? Do you have your favorite genre of film that you like? Sounds like you like.
I have a reputation, and I have a reputation for liking indie dramas,
Right,
the
dramas.
ones that aren't genre specific. However, personally, I love neo noir.
Mm-hmm.
That is probably my favorite. Give me a nasty neo noir,
Right.
and you've sort of got me hooked. In the theater, low budget sci-fi is the most interesting thing being done in the U.S.
Wow.
But when I read screenplays, give me a good neo noir. I love farces.
Yeah.
I think anybody can write a farce. I just admire.
It's hard.
Yes, I just admire
Farces
the
are
hell.
very hard.
So those are the harder though to get to do well.
Right.
Because
they don't sell.
I
as
think
well.
it's hysterical, and then the next person goes, I don't.
It's so subjective,
I
right?
don't get it.
Do you only read screenplays that are original, or do you ever do like a book adaptation screenplay reading? Is it either or?
Well,
There's categories, right, for slam dance, or no.
there aren't categories.
Okay.
But hardly anybody ever will adapt anything. I mean, you have to have the rights to adapt
It's
it.
a whole process.
When I
Right.
read for Here Network, sometimes there would be
Okay.
adaptations of books.
We had Terry Ray here. Terry's at Here with his show From Here On Out. He's a writer actor at Here also. Paul Collegeman and that whole crew. Yeah. No comment.
No,
I'm
just,
kidding. I'm kidding.
It's not a no comment from that reason. It's just that I haven't worked for them
It's
for
been
like
a long
5
time.
years.
Yeah.
So I have absolutely no idea
Yeah.
who's there and who's not
Right,
there anymore.
right.
So.
But Sam Irwin, the director, Sam Irwin, he directs a lot for Here, and he's had a pretty prolific career.
Yes. I think if I got that name right, you go on IMDb and it's like you have to go 3 or 4.
Right.
I mean, it's just
right.
and it's not just for Here.
No.
does-
He's had big features and TV movies, and
Yes,
but
yes.
he's sort of their go-to guy now.
Right.
There.
Yeah.
So is there anything that we would know that you knew was going to be great that we would know as far as it's been in the movie theater in the last few years?
Well, unfortunately, no.
But some that did critically well from the competition stage.
I know Slamdance has done well with things like The Woodsman,
right.
which had Kevin Bacon, and
Loved that
Maria
movie.
Full of Grace.
Yes.
uh,
Was that Olsen or no?
No, Maria Full of Grace. No, it was Spanish.
Oh, got
movie.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
I miss seeing all those.
I'm thinking
indie
of
movies.
Elizabeth
She got-
Olsen's
Yeah.
movie. That's
she got an Oscar nomination.
I
Marcy
used to-
Mary or something.
Yeah.
Macy.
There's a movie Drool that came out. The screenplay was really very clever, and then a couple of horror ones recently: Jugface and 100 Buckets of Blood.
Ooh.
That
one
100
I
Buckets of
don't
Blood
know.
was from Australia.
Okay.
It was hysterical. It was
I
so
miss seeing them at the Lemley.
The
Remember?
horror films?
Well,
Well, no,
Or
the
just
indie
the
films.
indie films?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, Jugface and 100 Buckets of Blood did play at the Limelight.
They did?
played as late shows at
Wow.
at the music hall.
So were you a Sharknado fan?
No.
When you said sci-fi, when you said low budget sci-fi, I went right to Sharknado.
I meant things like
I know.
The Signal and things like that, and Coherence, and it's
Right.
a disaster.
Now, do you ever have a desire to direct?
No, that is actually, I think people are very surprised at that. I do write screenplays. I did not want to direct when I wrote plays.
Me either.
What I tell people is that I don't find directing to be creative. So I'd rather leave it to somebody who does find
Right.
it creative.
Right.
Once I write the screenplay, I'm going, I don't want to hear these people say these lines 50 or 100
Right.
Interesting.
times and show up and have to do this and have to do that. Oh, no.
And there was a phase too, and I don't know if it's still happening, where they wanted everyone to write and direct their
They're
projects.
still doing that, and
Yeah.
that just drives me up the wall because most directors can't write.
Right.
Most writers can direct.
Right.
I'm probably going to get all the directors in the world mad at me. Pretty much anybody can direct.
Except Ralph and I, because we have
Yeah.
no desire. But no.
But cinematographers can direct, editors
Well,
can
so many
direct.
DPs do become directors.
Right.
Yeah.
Writers can direct, producers can direct, actors can direct.
Right.
Very few people can write.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
directors.
Although executives think they're writers,
Yeah.
and development people think they're writers.
So when I see someone say we want to get writer directors, I'm going, no, you want to get a director who can recognize a good script.
And that's a great point. There are a lot of. It's almost like there are great acting teachers who may not be the greatest actors. They're great. There are some development people
Right.
who are brilliant at developing scripts. That doesn't make them writers,
Right.
right?
Yes.
I mean, that's hard. I know it sounds weird, but it's
Well,
that.
no, it's true. I mean,
It's like a teacher.
There are a lot of people who do great coverage who have never written a screenplay
Right.
or at least have never gotten anything done. Or if you do, I mean, if you look at Robert McKee's IMDb page, it's not particularly impressive.
Is he still the go-to workshop guy? Because there was a period
well,
where
only because he's alive. Save the cat. He passed
years
away,
ago,
so.
I was going to work at Quincy Jones's company on a project. They paid us. We had to go take Robert's workshop, and it was a 2-3 day. I can't remember.
It is, yeah, I think so.
But that guy was making a fortune then. We didn't pay it. I didn't pay it, but it was thousands of dollars.
Well, people love him. People do.
Yeah.
But it's Save the Cat is what people go to a lot now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Robert was the go-to script teacher. I don't know what you call it.
Guru.
Guru.
Yeah, I think Guru.
And then the studios started hiring him, and the TV networks and stuff used him, and they would, sort of like certain actors have, like Yale, Carnegie Mellon on their resume. You had to have Robert McKee on your resume or whatever.
Right.
So interesting.
But he wasn't as dogmatic, I don't think, from what I understand.
Right.
You didn't have to have something happen by page 20.
No. No. I think at a certain point, it was just, you had to just have him on your resume. So just go to day one and then leave. And it kind of became some of that, allegedly. But who am I to judge, right? So yeah, exactly. So what can we look? What competitions are you upcoming now that you're judging for? Is there something people can submit to, or is that all
well,
on
they
your?
can, but it won't do them any good knowing my name at all.
No.
Right now, I'm just reading for Slam Dance.
Slam Dance. Okay.
I wonder if I should even mention that. I wonder if they're going.
Is Slam Dance a TV show?
Slam Dance is a competition.
Okay.
And it's a festival.
It started out as a festival because the people who started it couldn't get their movies into Sundance, so they said, "Well, screw you. We'll
start our own.
We'll take our baseball bat and go start our own."
And it really took off, and it's become very prestigious.
It's been like 20 years or so.
Exactly.
And the contest has been around for 15 or something.
Because Sundance has their writing competition
as well.
Yeah.
How many judges are there for Slam Dance?
I don't know the exact number, and it does change from year to year. There's probably, I think last year when they all gathered to decide who was going to win, there's probably about 8 to 10 people who
Does Slam Dance also do the writers workshop panels like Sundance does?
No.
The intensive thing that they do?
I'm not aware of anything, no.
Yeah. I have a writer friend, Carol. She's participated in the Sundance one. Because they'll bring in writers to kind of mentor scripts.
Things like that.
Right.
Yes.
Do your fellow coverage writers, do you guys confer about how you cover a screenplay, or is it all just individual?
Well, sometimes we do get together, and if we get a few
Is there a support group?
Well, we'll get a few drinks in us, and we'll start going, oh, God, I can't believe how many people have written screenplays that I have absolutely no idea what's going on. I can't follow the plot. I don't know. And yes, we get together, we could vetch. We might talk about certain ones. Oh, have you read this one? This is really great. And sometimes we'll say, oh, God, well, obviously they hadn't read it because only one person would have read the really bad ones. But we say, oh,
because it won't make it past
you
that.
You can't believe the screenplay that we wrote. So,
wow.
And then we also get into big discussions about general philosophy about what kind of screenplay should we and what shouldn't. And
so, because time is flying, one last question. Were you always a big film buff as a kid, even?
Well. No. Because I grew up in Corpus Christi, Texas, and there wasn't much there. I started becoming interested in it sort of in high school, but it wasn't until I got to college. But I didn't see my first foreign film until I was in high school.
Do you remember what it was?
Actually, it might have been college. It might have been home. Z.
I didn't see it.
Oh, Z is Costa Gravas's film. And the odd thing about it is it was dubbed. It wasn't in a foreign language, but and then so.
Wow. So you kind of came to it a little later.
I was more interested in theater.
And you were a playwright.
Got my degree.
Where'd you go to university?
University of Texas at Austin.
Wow, Austin, great city.
Yeah.
Doesn't everyone say that?
Doesn't
everyone say that about Texas?
Everybody says that about Austin.
You say Texas and then you say Austin.
Well, someone just said that when people move to Texas from outside of Texas, they eventually gravitate to Austin.
They end up in Austin.
Yeah, they just.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Unless they're Republican.
Yes.
Oh well, we don't do politics here.
Oh, okay.
Because we're all liberals. No, I'm kidding. Well, Howard, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Please come
Howard
back
Casner.
anytime. And we just love having you're our first screenplay coverage person on the show.
Fantastic.
First of will be no more. Only Howard can come
Wait,
back.
isn't there somebody after him?
Well, no, our next guest doesn't do coverage.
I'm teasing.
He's a writer-producer. So anyway, we're going to take our next break. And when we come back, we're going to have writer-producer, director extraordinaire, Raoul.
Peter Magnilardi.
And you've been watching and listening On the Set with Jasper Cole. We'll be right back.
Come back, Planet Earth, huh?
You're back on the set with Hollywood's bad guy, Jasper Cole. Here's Jasper Cole.
Woohoo! All right. Howdy, 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 and welcome back to On the Set with Jasper Cole. We are in our final stretch here, but I'd like to say we saved the best for last. No offense to any other guests, but they've left. They don't know what we're saying.
Howard's watching.
Howard knows we're kidding.
Howard, yeah.
Welcome back. We haven't been here in 7 weeks, so this is our July show, and it's been our highbrow author, writer, very distinguished show. We've tried to be on our best behavior, but I didn't
We
start off.
tried to be on our best behavior.
It didn't really work out so well.
You need to repent.
Well, that's what happens.
Wow.
And that's
Yours
that,
cold.
Oh, look, nipples. And speaking of nipples, welcome back, Dara.
Hi.
Thanks for staying with us.
You're welcome.
And who's that thing next to you? Say
That
hi.
beautiful creature is
Yes.
Ralph Cole
Hello,
Jr.
Planet
My
Earth.
way
Oh,
too
welcome
gay
back. I am
sidekick.
way too gay, and I love that.
Yeah.
You can never get too much
Very
gay.
subtle.
You can never get too gay.
Yeah.
That's
Okay?
right.
Right.
Yes.
Never too thin or too gay.
Or too
Work it
black.
out.
Or too
Or
rich.
too
Too
black.
rich.
But you don't know you're black,
Right,
so it's all good
exactly.
to go, right?
Are you black? Poor Raoul.
Poor-
Let's
poor-
introduce Raoul.
Ralph,
Ralph
so
will.
Ralph gets to always introduce the guest to his right.
Our very esteemed second author for today is none other than Raoul Peter Magnilardi.
Yay! Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
What a
Thank you.
great name. We love your name. We were just talking about it before we went on the air here.
Sure.
And you had a funny story about when you were giving the name, you said your dad said something to your mom.
Oh yeah, my dad when he saw the name that my mom wanted, because it was really her idea.
It's a mouthful.
He said, "Yeah, you're really going to give it to him now, aren't you?"
Where are you from? What part?
I was born in Carmel.
Oh wow!
how lovely.
God,
It was
that's such a
terrible.
oh, you poor
It was,
thing.
you know,
The
I'm
ghetto.
government cheese and everything.
Yeah, I
I'm so
felt like
sorry.
a real, problem from California. It was bad. I
It
had
was
to
bad.
say.
It's so beautiful there.
Yeah, and I was there till I was 8, and then my father was killed in Vietnam, so we
sorry.
moved back
Oh.
east, where my mother and he were originally from, and I grew up there and went to military school, which I was
Wow.
fortunate enough to get myself thrown out of.
Good for
Wow,
you.
how'd
Thank
you manage
God.
that?
Worked on it diligently.
Good for you.
Good.
Ooh.
Wow.
And then went to other schools and lived there, and then came out here about 20 years ago.
It's to L.A.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had you worked in the industry back east? Or-
I'd been on some, been an actor. Like,
You were an actor,
like,
right? Yeah.
like a lot of other people.
and then you came to your senses.
And then I kind of came to my senses and came here and been writing and producing.
producing ever since.
Yeah.
No,
Now-
go ahead, Ralph.
Was it your mother that gave you the pronunciation of Raoul?
Well, people always did, sort of differently, and it's sort of the French, so it's just,
Oh, I see.
it's really just Raoul,
Mhm.
and
Right.
yeah.
I see.
But
'Cause-
I always just say growl without the
Right.
Without the G, right.
Like if you wrote it phonetically, yeah, it would be
Yeah.
like growl. Yeah. Well, how long your company OMRPM Productions, was that something you've had for 20 years, or did you kind of it evolved into what it is now?
Well, it really evolved because I started out in film production and independent production with Disney Imagineering, and my first gig in town was with the Geffen Playhouse during
Oh.
its inaugural season. I was an
Great.
assistant stage manager.
Mm.
It was really exciting to
Right.
see it
Yeah.
get off
Is that
the
That
when
would
ground.
be.
was that when Gil Cates
It
was
was.
running it?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Do you happen to know Tom Schumacher at all at Disney?
yes, in
Animation.
Imagineering.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a friend of
Okay.
Ralph's.
Oh yeah, he was a lovely guy.
Mhm.
And Connie Stamos.
I don't know Connie.
She's one of the people who's does all of the business management
see.
there. And her husband Nick Stamos is an old friend of mine. Actually, did our budget for MIA, and I've worked with him many years. He's a
okay.
really
See,
cool
it's a
guy.
small- everyone is Hollywood's really small. We say that all the time, but it really is.
Half a degree of separation.
So- Right.
The MIA is the Air Commanding.
Is the Burning Blue. It's a little bit confusing because Zach and I originally gave it the title. Zach named it The Burning Blue, which is a beautiful title. And then we got some notes back that said, it's
You got
kind
some coverage from Howard.
of a little bit,
No, but yeah.
little bit of coverage from a studio president, and he thought that, which I think is a really good note and an astute note, that it's a little bit of an art house kind of film title,
Mhm.
and, so he thought that we would hit really our demographic if we had MIA.
Mm-hmm.
I like
so we
that.
switched it to MIA, but at the same time, referring I think to what your question is, Air Wing Commander
Right.
is the real. So we have a name of that too, because two of my colleagues, our History Channel producers, did the series Dogfights.
Oh yeah.
Brooks Wachtel and Cynthia Harrison. And so they wanted to do a reel with me. And I said, why don't we kind of put it together right now and just let's get this done, And so we called it Air Wing Commander. The concept being, of course, that a documentary or History Channel show would really be about the military aspects of his career and not so much the drama. Yeah.
And
Right.
are you the actor in Air Wing Commander?
No.
Of the-
I did the voiceover.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
you have a
did one of
great
the
voice.
voices.
Yeah.
Thank
yeah,
you.
You do.
Thank you.
But so, God, well, first of all, you got so much going on. Like
It's
you
a
have so
lot.
many. Yeah. Where in terms of websites, or where do you want people to look you up or find you? I mean,
If
what's
you
the
do.
best? I mean, you may not, but if you know what I mean, are you on
Yeah.
the social media and all that, or do you?
I'm on Facebook. I have my regular Facebook page under my name. I have OMRPM Productions on Facebook. We also have Next to the Gods on Facebook, which is our, my science fiction project. And everything has now we've rebranded
Right.
everything so that now I pulled all the websites together. I think, Dara, you commented earlier that, there's a lot of websites on my business card. So what we did was we pulled them all in. So it's all under the banner
That's
of
because I have ADD.
So it's all under the banner of OMRPM
Productions.
Productions.com?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's it. So OM-RPMProductions.com. You
And
can
the
look-
M is your last name?
Yeah.
And who's the O?
Well, it's actually Ohm. I wanted to make the universal sound Ohm.
Oh, right.
Oh,
and I
right.
originally wanted to have the website be Ohm Productions.
Right.
Well, that was gone,
It's
in a
gone.
flash.
Yeah, I would think so.
So I thought, well, I don't want to get too far away from that, and why don't we keep it relevant to my name? Because
Yeah.
that way, when we're branding things, at least
Yes.
it'll go
Good idea.
that way.
Right.
So we did OMRPM.
Right.
And when
You're one of the few people that has a 213 number.
I refuse to give it
I
up.
have a
You have a
213
I
number.
have a
Right
213
on.
also.
Right on, sister.
all three
right
of you.
on.
That's right. That's
When
right.
my parents started a cell service for all of us girls, I had a 213 because I lived in Hollywood
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I have
And that was our
213.
Hollywood number for
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I haven't given it up.
Right.
Yeah, that's
It's funny when I put it on school forms, they just sort of, and they always will try and call the rest of the number without the area code, thinking that I made a mistake. No.
Yeah, it must
no,
be.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And also the other thing is it's partly branding and I mean after this many years of having
Right.
the number and having why change it?
Right.
Exactly.
Well, and
It's
it's
kinda
cool
silly.
because some people will get in contact with me that I haven't, you
Right.
know, I've been in contact for a while, and it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
Right on. Good for you.
Right on,
Thank you.
sister.
I
Well,
try.
when we have to let everyone know, when you mentioned Zach earlier, it's Zach Gruber, publicist extraordinaire, who also is a great writer, and so you
Oh,
guys
very
have
much
a
so.
project together.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, that's MIA.
That's right. You guys were mentioning it, but I wanted to bring that back.
Yeah, that's MIA, the Burning Blue. What happened was, as I mentioned, my dad was killed in
That's
Vietnam.
just dreadful.
I know.
It was
You were
really-
young.
It was,
Yeah.
I was
Young.
8.
The same age my husband lost his mother, not in Vietnam, but it's a tough age.
Yeah, it was.
You
It
know,
was. It was
yeah.
kind of like having a bomb go off in
Yeah.
your family, and so we didn't have his remains for 41 years. And so
Wow.
when Clinton opened the doors to Vietnam in '92, my dad's name was high on the list because of his rank and because of the fact that it had been, we had been pressuring for quite a while.
I was going to ask you,
get
is
some
that something
answers.
the family had been pursuing, I
Yeah.
guess, for years?
My mother was quite a powerhouse, and so she was all over it. But then it hurt so much, and then my sister and my brother and I took it over.
Right.
And then so his crash site was one of the first forensically released crash sites.
Wow.
Happened that at that time forensic identification was very good, and certainly better than it had been, but it wasn't 100%. So they had said, well, we can guarantee you it's your dad, and we'll give you, but we can really only officially make it a 20% match. And we said, no, we're not going to do that. I
that's-
mean, it was a single engine attack jet aircraft. Common sense, it had to be him. But on principle, in order to have a resolution and to have Arlington Cemetery ceremonies conducted properly, we wanted to have it full.
Sure.
So in 2007, they contacted us and said, we're doing a revolutionary new process, which is a mitochondrial DNA match. And if we do this, it will be a 100% match. So we did it, and it was. So 41 years later, we were able
Wow.
to give him his full military.
Now, was your
Honest.
mom still here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
She's
good.
still
no,
kicking and
good,
thrashing.
Good for her.
Yeah,
Good.
But that's a real
Wow.
full circle moment for your family.
it was. It was.
Yeah, because the imagery that I saw of them finding the DNA match when they said it was a 100%, it looked like spirochetes going into something, and then it all
Right.
like congealed, and that's when it was determined that it was 100%.
Right. We timed it that way. You're talking about the sizzle reel.
Yes.
Yeah. We timed it so that it would look exactly like that in order to make the connection between between what is being said and the visual acuity of what that really means in terms of the science of what that represents.
Wow. So and that the sizzle reel is on your website as well, everyone. I just want to make sure, because it is riveting. It's very really well done.
Thank you very much.
So you have that project, and then now you also have your book.
Next to the Gods. Can I hold it up?
I'm letting you be Carol Merrill. Oh, I just aged myself. No one even knows who that is. But
and didn't she do this a lot?
Yeah.
It was sort of like
Next to the Gods. Tell us about this is book 3.
This is book 3. This is Great Is Our Number. There are 4 books in the series. The 4th one we're holding back on now because all three of them are out, and I want to build audience and make it and push it a little bit before we release book 4. Book 1 is When Gods Walk Among Us. Book 2 is The Fate of Worlds. Book 3 is Great Is Our Number, which is my favorite title.
Yeah.
And book 4 is The Secret Place of Thunder.
Wow.
They're all about 300 to 400 pages. So it's world-building, empire science fiction.
And were you a science fiction buff?
I love it.
Always. I mean,
all my boys love science fiction.
I grew up with it. Watching George Powell movies, and my godmother was Betty Spiegel, the wife of the famous film producer Sam Spiegel.
Yes.
So I grew up in a film-related world. I went to Radio City Music Hall all the time. Rah rah Radio City. I love that place. And was so glad to help save it. I was reading Robert Heinlein and Isaac Asimov and
Ray Bradbury
and Arthur Clarke.
Wow.
And Frank Herbert.
Right.
And along with other literature and history. I'm a history buff too.
You are? Okay.
Do you happen to...
Go ahead. Who's the demographic for your books?
It's really...
What ages?
It's a broad demographic. I would say a good 14 or 13 on the bright side all the way up. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not children's stories in the sense that because it's world building, there's a lot of characterization and storyline to read. So for little kids, not so much.
Right.
But teenagers and on. Yeah, definitely.
What was the inspiration for the original concept? I mean, do you talk about that or?
Yeah, it was. I began to think about my interest in mythology and history, and that sensibility was really inspiring to me. Just gods and goddesses and religion and mystical.
It's right up my boys' alley. I have 13 and 15-year-old teenage boys.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's right up their alley.
Yeah.
They're totally into all that.
Well, I'd love to get them copies.
Yeah. Oh well, we'll buy them.
And autograph
so you can make
too.
some money.
Yeah, autograph would be great.
And so, all of that was formulating. So I was a writer. And it's funny because when I was sent to military school for reasons I still can't fathom,
now,
sentenced.
Really. Do you send as in high school or right after high school?
It was high school.
So you were naughty.
And it was
you were naughty.
Yeah, and it was a Southern Baptist military
school.
Where I'm from the South. Where were you?
Outside of Charlottesville, it's a place called Fork Union Military Academy.
I always hear horror stories that
we
kids
called
get
it
worse.
something else.
I bet.
I've heard of it. No, I'm from Georgia, but I've heard.
Are they
I've
just
heard of it.
they just can get away with being so mean to you guys there?
Well, particularly in those days, and this was the problem because it was not an ROTC school, so that meant. Because ROTC is the sort of
at least connected to the school
in the high school
is a pre-regulation of very strict military codes, but this one wasn't. And I mean, we had guys who were just wearing uniforms who were not even military people.
Oh, geez.
And so it was really, really ugly. And I remember my dear friend was a guy named Jack, and he was Jewish. And we were walking across campus one time, and one of the assistant commandants, quote unquote, walked up to us, and we saluted him, and he looked at my friend and said, Magnilardi, I'm going to return your salute, but I'm not going to return your salute because you're a Jew, to my friend. And your blood just runs cold, and you're 16 years old, and I thought, God, get me out of here. How did this happen?
That's how we
to me?
pronounced your name?
Yeah. And I was always giving him smart-ass responses, because I just hated them, and I hated everything they were doing.
Did they send your brother there too?
No. No, my
He
brother.
was a good brother?
I didn't know my.
No.
I didn't know my brother until 1976 because he didn't grow up with us.
Oh.
This is part of the MIA story.
Okay.
And but
But you survived. How long were you?
How long were you there before?
Well, no, better yet, how did you
How'd you
get
get
kicked
kicked
out?
out?
What
you
did
know
you
how
do?
I got kicked out? I realized I tried to do everything I could. I sabotaged a varsity basketball game. That didn't work because then I knew my friends were going to get in trouble. We were all smoking pot because it was 1976 and we were in a boys' school and what the hell else we were going to do.
Totally.
You know? So we had this system of pulleys in in the radiators, and we'd put the pot in the socks and drop them down and run them
Who
all
would
over.
get you the pot?
Oh, friends would bring it from off campus.
Okay.
They'd come for the
From their parents,
dances,
yeah.
and they'd come to visit us, and everything. And I had these great guys who were friends of mine. They were so cool. And one of the horrible things about it was when I first went there, and I was just in shock, and I went in to the bathroom, and the shower room was on this side, and the toilet room was on this side, and it was a row full of toilets with no privacy walls.
Ugh.
That's like prison.
Nothing like that. It was like, and I thought, why?
You thought,
Yeah.
I won't be going.
So what I did was I ordered a catalog from Saks Fifth a caftan from Saks Fifth Avenue, and I sat on the toilet and tented myself with this caftan. I thought,
How did you order
hell
a
with you.
caftan while you're in military school?
Oh, you could do that. Yeah.
That's something Ralph would have
That
done.
is just hilarious.
I could order
And they kicked you
cigarettes
out?
from my home. Finally, no. And what they did was I couldn't get them to get rid of me. So I started reading Gandhi. And I realized that, it wasn't my alternative sexuality that was going to do it. It wasn't sabotaging the varsity basketball game that was going to do it. So, and it was kind of scary too, because, when
'cause they could
people
beat the
say
crap out of
things
you.
like that, and they did.
Oh, I'm sure.
They shoved me against the wall and everything. And,
I'm sure.
And I told them, I said, do it again and I'm going to hit you back. And then I'm going to call the federal authorities. And they were
Right.
like, what are you talking
federal
about, son?
authorities, what-
You're a hippie. And I'm like, yeah. And guess what? My dad died for this country and I have the right to be a hippie, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And they hated me, So they just, they wanted to get rid of me and I wanted to go. So it was a stalemate. So I finally realized, then I started doing like fashion things that you would see in the 90s.
You're like Jamie Farr
in the
on MASH.
70s, right?
Anything
So-
to get out.
But what I would do is we had dress uniforms and we had fatigue uniforms and stuff, and we had the rifles, these old Spanish Mauser rifles with the
Wow.
firing pins out of them.
How
so you
butch.
do the fire, which I could never do. I'd drop the rifle, and my rifle was always filthy.
Right.
Did your mom know that you shouldn't be there? Like that wasn't a good, or would she just?
She thought it was going to be a really good thing for me,
Okay.
It's kind of Gomer Pyle-ish.
and she thought it would keep me away from the emerging drug culture of the 70s.
Okay.
I want you to know that that's the first place I smoked a joint.
I was going to say.
The guy who gave it to me, his name was America, and he was a master sergeant,
Wow.
and he was a good friend. So I thought, this is just too weird,
Did your friend Jack get out?
He stayed. He graduated.
Okay.
He stuck it through. He was a pretty tough cookie, but he had a lot of pressure from home. But what I started to do was mismatch uniforms. Like I'd wear the Eisenhower jacket with the T-shirt. I'd wear the fatigue pants with slippers for the shower, and they would stick me, which is what they call giving you demerits. Then I thought, well, I'm not going to march these demerit tours off. I'm not going to do it. And finally, the really calm thing comes over you, as Gandhi talks about, nonviolent, passive resistance. I just stopped participating. I didn't go to class. I ate only what would sustain me. I didn't march off meal. I just sat there. And they finally, what are you going to do?
And you
with it?
finish out at your local high school?
No, I went to a boarding school in New York City called the Rhodes School.
A good one.
Was that better?
Oh, it was wonderful.
Okay.
It was art and music and humanity
Right.
and culture, and I was like, thank you.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Wow. So
Everybody has a
see?
story.
Yeah, that's quite a journey. That really prepared you for show business. The ups and downs and craziness. We were talking earlier about how long it takes projects to come together.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask producers all the time, what do producers do? And so we always laugh about, well, it just, there is no, I've been pulled to the floor. Wow. I feel like I'm on the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
I don't
That
want to
could
lose
be
this
fun.
You
card.
pulled my weave. Hold on.
You should just go with it. Could be fun.
I don't want to lose this card.
Oh, that's
I have
hilarious.
to look up all his stuff.
So no, can we mentioned briefly about you have some good people attached to your project that we don't want to jinx it, but we want to share the good news.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, MIA is is like I said when we were finally able to give the services to my dad, it was such a cathartic thing after 41 years, and I wanted to do a documentary about it. Sharon Stone is a very good friend of mine and a person I admire and love very, very deeply.
Wonderful
not only
woman.
for her incredible work as an actor, but also as a humanitarian.
Absolutely.
And AMFAR
and
just knocks it out of the park, every time. And I said to her, I'd like to do this as a documentary. And she said, I really think it's a story. I think you should write the story as a film. I mean, you can do a documentary anytime, but this is a very, very important story for mothers and wives and people, because we have Full Metal Jacket, we have Apocalypse Now, we have other stories as told from the warrior and soldier side of the story and men and women in service, which is very, very important, and I support that completely. But how much about the wives and children and mothers and what
behind
they go through and what they do.
The ones left behind.
So that's how it came about. And
were there other people like yourselves that couldn't identify their loved one for that many decades?
It is.
Is that going to be in the
very, very big issue? Very big issue.
Is it an issue that goes on now?
Yes.
There's still many
thousands
unnamed,
of cases.
Unidentified remains.
Thousands of cases.
It's so parallel now to the Malaysian flight, and now that they're saying that it was shot down.
Yeah.
It's similar to what your father endured.
Well, just look at the wars we've had since Vietnam.
And World War I.
Yeah, exactly.
These missing in action, missing cases, and that's why we have the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
Right.
Right.
But also all of these parents and families and people, there's a tour that goes around every year by the Department of Defense, which is a POW MIA tour that goes around just addressing the needs of these families. And I went to one of them a year ago as a guest, and it broke my heart to stand up there, and there's a room full of 400 people who want to know where their brothers, wives, fathers, mothers, sisters are, and some have been waiting longer than me. And so I had to find somewhere in myself something to say, at least someone's here to tell you it's happening.
It can happen.
And it really is, and you manifest it, and we'll get there. Give the forensic teams time to do it, and you're going to have...
Why such the holdup?
Is it an economic thing? Did you have to pay for it? No.
Why is there a holdup? Just they don't...
It's...
No follow through? I don't understand.
No, there's a lot of follow through.
Okay.
So the government's doing a good job. They're
doing everything they can, but also, some people, war, the violence of some of these deaths is so total and so catastrophic that a lot of people don't have a lot of DNA to work from.
Okay.
So where are these people? And where, if they go off the grid, people think of, of war as a sort of as you go here and you do this and there's that and there's this engagement. It's really an extraordinarily chaotic in the second kind of thing going on. And so people get lost, things happen, equipment goes away and things like that. So they're doing the best that they can. The heroes of this is what's called the Joint Accounting Command in Hawaii, which is the really important forensic laboratory that's doing all of this work. And sometimes they're featured on CSI and stories like that.
And forgive me if you said earlier, do you know how many remains have been identified of the families? Like how many families like yourself have?
I don't have those numbers offhand.
But it's still a lower number. Compared to how many are still missing?
Yeah, there's more missing than not, and it's going to take a long time.
Wow, that's what makes this project so much more powerful.
Yeah.
It's
and
it's relevant. Very
relevant. So this
relevant.
is a movie you're working on, MIA.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
you have a studio behind you?
We have a great director.
Okay.
And so now we're going to go forward to, when everybody comes back from their various nirvanas for the summer,
yes,
we're going to find out where we're going to go with that.
Interesting.
That's
and
exciting.
I'm trying to get also, if I can talk about my documentary just
absolutely.
really quickly.
Yes.
I did 2 documentaries, The Changing Face of Autism, because my neighbor has a son, and so that was
and
how I became
so many people are touched by it. I mean,
introduced to that, and that was 5 years of a really difficult process to do it, and we're very proud of that film. And then I did a film completely opposite called The Walt Disney Concert Hall Organ, which is about the big pipe organ,
the pipe organ.
in the
yes,
Frank
the
Gehry
famous
Hall.
organ.
And I'm kind of a organ nut and classical music kind of kook. So I was trying to, like, when I mentioned Radio City years ago,
right.
it's like when they were going to close it. At one point, I don't know if any of you remember, but they were going to close Radio City and turn it into tennis courts.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And my aunt and Jackie Kennedy, my godmother and Jackie Kennedy, and a lot of other people in New York said, no way.
Right.
So we actually did a sit-in, and at the time it was
I remember that.
Governor Carey. Do
There
you remember
was
that?
news coverage of that. Yeah.
And we sat around and made a human wall around in Channel 2 and Channel 4, and everybody came to, these people are, going to say. And so Governor Carey, and one of the few great things that he did that I at least remember was he signed it into a landmark. But what we had done at the time also was we had made plans, if they were going to gut the theater, was we were going to go in and take the Wurlitzer, the theater organ, out and put it into a warehouse out in Long Island, because it's the most famous theater organ in the world, and we didn't want it to be gutted and torn out.
What is wrong with people that they want to get
Just
rid of
amazing.
historic?
Well, they do that in L.A. They tear down historical buildings, especially in L.A. They're really bad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are your 2 documentaries. And again, all this can be found on your your combined website now.
Yes.
Yeah, where everything's your.
And we're hoping to get we're seriously looking at getting the Walt Disney Concert Hall Organ documentary on PBS.
Oh, that would be
Oh,
great.
that would be
So
nice.
this is the 10th anniversary of the concert hall.
Oh, yeah.
Already.
Right.
It just
How
seems
did
like
that
they just
happen?
built it.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful
I know.
building also.
It is.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. Well, Raoul, thank you so much.
Thank
the time
you.
flies.
Very
I don't know
interesting.
where
Yeah.
it
Thank
you
goes.
so
Come
much,
back.
Dara.
Please come back. And
Thank you, Ralph.
Yeah,
when
you're
when
very
your other
welcome.
projects are happening, and
Love to.
that would be great.
Yeah.
So thank you
Love to
again
do
so
that.
much. Ralph, thank you for
Thank you, Jasper.
coming. Great to see you.
I know. It's fun to be back. We've been off for a while.
When are we going to
so
be
it was
on
fun to
next
be
in
together again.
August?
So
August 3rd.
We'll be here August 3rd, our
Okay.
first Sunday in
Alrighty.
August. Dara, great to see you.
Thank you.
JW, thank you so much.
Thank you for everything.
A big thanks to Howard Casner, and check out him
and
on,
Zach Gruber.
Well,
for-
yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Without Zach, we wouldn't have any guests today.
Absolutely.
Right? And we will see you August 3rd. And
Okay. My birthday.
Is that
4
your
days-
birthday?
No, well,
A few days before,
the
but
Oh, okay.
July
I'll want
31st.
gifts and celebrations, please.
Okay.
And don't
yes.
forget, because you forgot Mother's Day, and I did
Okay.
hint on Mother's Day.
Okay.
Wow.
Because
Were
we remember
weren't
your birthday all the time.
we weren't here on Mother's Day this year.
We were in the vicinity.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
And
close
I already
enough.
warned you through email, and nobody did nothing.
Thing. Okay.
Well, we don't-
Okay.
But we don't think of you as a mother because you're so young and beautiful, and you couldn't have
I'm
possibly.
old and
smooth.
tired.
You couldn't
Yeah.
have
He's-
teenage
he just-
sons.
Right.
There's no way.
Okay.
They were adopted.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you again for tuning in. We will see you August 3rd.
Yes.
And you've been listening to and watching On the Set with Jasper Cole. We'll be right back on August 3rd.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Planet Earth.
Don't miss a minute of On the Set with Jasper Cole, and get the inside scoop on everything going on behind the scenes in Hollywood.